All right, guys, it is Aussie Grim with the Gamers Grim, and we are back on the moon of Kurtz this week to go over another custom vanilla ship. This week we're going over the Shadowrun. I felt it prudent since that I went back and redid the Imperator into the Praetorian, that I visit my original home ship, the Midnightrun, which was a fairly popular build of mine, and just deck it out and upgrade it and turn it into something even more amazing. And this is the Shadowrun. It is a Class B ship, and it is a really sleek, just like the Midnightrun was way back when the game first came out, which was my, of course, I mentioned my original home ship. So, but make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment down below for more of these custom builds across the games that I'm playing right now. It always helps the channel when you do that. And we are pushing towards 500 subs, which I never even thought was possible. But here we are. We're on our way. So, oh my goodness, that's pretty amazing. Fell right down the gap. But anyway, back to the ship. This is the Shadowrun. Amazing Class B ship with everything you need in it. Probably some of the coolest design lines on any ship that I ever made. Really liked trying to use that Demos cockpit up there. And for those of you who have done a lot of building, it's one of the most amazing cockpits that you can get. But it's kind of weird in the way that its silhouette works, and it just sort of juts out. And if you can find ways to like squeeze it under something or do something with it, it really looks amazing. But this is the Shadowrun, and it is an upgraded Midnightrun, and it's really just a pretty cool ship. So that is the outside of the ship. You see there, really, really nice design lines on it. And so we will go inside. Like all of my ships, I try to make them as ladderless or ladderless and doorless builds if I can in any way, shape, or form. And this is no different. I believe this is a truly ladderless build, but we ended up with more doors than we'd like, but that is just the way things go. Of course, we have this amazing Demos cockpit up here in the front with plenty of room for you and your crew, and it goes back into a Stroud Eklund 2x2 living quarters. This is a mixture of Stroud and Demos habs. This is I believe a Stroud 2x1 captain's quarters right next to that for you. I like this because it has 2 bathrooms. For those who don't know, I'm kind of obsessed with making sure my ships have bathrooms on them. I think it's weird when your ship doesn't have a bathroom. But going back, we will come into a Stroud Eklund living quarters, just because I wanted access to the galley and having some sleeping arrangements for the crew. In the back here, we have ourselves our docker. It is nice and placed out of the way, so we don't have to worry about that ladder obtruding in any of our areas. And of course, here to the starboard side, we have a Demos workshop. And then to the port side, we have ourselves an infirmary. So this is a ladderless build. It gives you access to almost all of the necessary workbenches and stuff. A very comfortable layout. Very, very nice. This was my original home ship. I really enjoyed living on this until I built the Imperator. This is probably where I leveled probably the first 50 to 60 levels of the game, just with dogfighting. For those of you who don't know, you can level very quickly through dogfighting. It's something I discovered long time ago, but there's been plenty of videos made on it now. So, but I do have a video on my channel that shows you how to do it. It is the Midnightrun channel video from about 3 months ago. If you want to go look at the original ship design that this is based off of. So we're going to go in here and we're going to look at the Shadowrun in flight. Get a nice look at that. It is such a nice ship, just very comfortable. About the only thing that I could think of that could replace it was the Imperator, and which is now the Praetorian, and the Midnightrun is now the Shadowrun. So I really enjoyed making the ship back then, and I really enjoyed upgrading it to what it is now. It is just a really good looking ship, and it is a lot of fun to fly around in and explore. So what I'll do is I will switch over to the shipbuilder. I cannot talk today, but we will go over to the shipbuilder, and we'll go over how to put this together so that all of you can make your very own Shadowrun ship. So we will be right back. All right, guys, we are back in the shipbuilder, and I have the Shadowrun pulled apart for you for the most part. This way you can see the basic layout of your HABs, which is basically the foundation of how you do most of your ship builds. So you will, of course, have the Ares bridge from Deimos, and it will be attached to a Deimos storeroom. And then we will have a Stroud Eklund living quarters, though you can put whatever 2x2 you want behind that. That's fair. And then I have a Deimos captain's quarters directly across from that. Alternatively, you could use a 3x2 here. I just wanted the additional living space for the captain's quarters. So that is what you do here. And then going back from there, right in the middle, you're going to use your 2x1s. Here I have the Stroud Eklund living quarters, and then I have two Nova cross passages that come out of the back of that 2x1 and go into two additional 2x1s to the starboard and port side, just like you see here. And you can make these whatever you want, but this is the fundamental layout. And then in the rear, we have ourselves a Deimos companionway, which goes down into our docker. I went with this docker simply because the way these gears work, it just didn't look as good with the slim docker. So I went ahead and put this down, and it ended up, I think, looking a little bit better than with the slim docker. The slim docker just kind of made it feel like there was an empty space there that I just didn't like. Speaking of the gear, we, of course, have hidden 4 of these 220 CB landing gears up under here along the sides. I think it looks really cool when these fire off and you're taking off and they tuck up underneath the ship. It's a very interesting sort of use of these gears that are typically meant to be on the outside of a ship. I try to find interesting ways to squeeze them inside the ship so that they feel like they're like mechanically part of it. And that's what these do. When you take off, they swivel and tuck up underneath the ship, which I think is really cool. But we also do have 2 of these 320 CB landing gears right here from Deimos as well. And then I do have a couple of decorative pieces, those skeg bees that just kind of go between those 2 landing gears to fill out the bottom so that it doesn't feel empty down here, as well as skeg A afts and skeg A's that you see just underneath your captain's quarters and the Stroud living quarters like that. That way we fill up this bottom space really nice. I don't like having empty dead space underneath or on ships if I can help it. And of course we finalize our the framework of the ship with an NG6 landing bay, and that goes up into that Deimos storeroom, so we're not interfering with any of the interior floor plan for the main ship like there. So what we will have are some of these decorative pieces. They'll go on probably first. We'll go ahead and put on these 2 Nova braking engines that tuck in right behind the bridge and sit just like you see there. And that's one of the things that makes them kind of look cool. So what we will also do is we will have some of these Nova cowlings. This first one will go, I believe, right here, right in front of that 2x1 that you have in the back to create a nice silhouette. And we will also have, I believe these go here, if I remember correctly, or maybe they go here. I think these go right here on the very front, just behind those braking engines. Because this is one of the areas that we're going to do a little snapping technique. We're going to snap this Nova cowling. We're going to turn it into the 2L PM, and then once it's snapped, we're going to transform it into the just regular Nova cowling so that it sits just above the cockpit that you see there. That way it creates sort of a nice hooded effect over the top, just like you see there. And then we do have our gas tanks, our fuel tanks. They are H3 Atlas helium-3 tanks from Dogstar. They give us a lot of grav jump distance, and they snap to the interior of those Nova cowlings. And part of the reason we're doing that is so that we can sneak our Vanguard bulwark shield generator right underneath them, like you see just here. So it kind of puts that out of the way and makes life a little bit easier for you. And then we'll do the other snapping technique that we're going to do, which is we're going to take this Nova cowling that you see here. We're going to place it just behind our gas tanks like so, and then we're going to transform it into the 2LTF, and it will further cover our Vanguard shield, but won't obstruct the sort of silver and checkered pattern of our gas tanks that sort of sit like that behind the cockpit. And then we can go ahead and take this whole setup here. It's just 3-4 of the Nova cowlings that are inverted, and then we have some demo spines that run along the top there, and it will attach directly to the back of that Nova cowling that you see there. And then we will have some HopeTech pipes that go right here. You could probably put anything you want here. Alternatively, you could put some Nova cowling there if you want. I just wanted to sort of break up the design and make it look like there were pipes and gas lines and electrical lines and stuff going through the ship from the front to the back. But this is where we will attach our reactor and grav drives. So for the reactor, we will have ourselves the 104 DS mag inertial reactor, and it will attach to those pipes like you see here. And then we have ourselves the red lane. I don't think that goes in yet because it is being aggressively annoying. But it needs a new snap. It needs a different snap point. So we'll have to throw that in there in a little bit. So the first, let's go ahead and just throw on our engines. We have 4 of these Dun 71 engines, and they are really simple to attach. You attach the first 2 directly behind your 2x1s, and then the others, this one will go right here. And there is why I hate the way some of these snapping systems work, but we'll work with it while we can. I believe the way that I'm going to get this to work is by attaching the cowling here. If you see, I have 2 of these Stroud Cap A's. We're going to have like 6 of those. So once that is snapped, we can go ahead and I believe what we'll have to do is snap our engine first. Yeah, see, now the engine is snapped in there, and then I believe we do have a snap point that will allow us to do it. Why is this not suddenly wanting to go here? What did I have? Oh, yeah. Now I know. All right, so you'll have to put the engine on these first, then put the engine on, and then take the upper ones and snap them in place like you see here using the engine's snap point. Like that, and it will create that really nice silhouette, and we'll be able to then sneak our grav drive in there so that it matches and is in the same place as our reactor. I love the way some of these builds work out when they do silly crap like that, but we will do have these cowling mirrored on the other side like you see here, and then there will be one that goes over the top. These 2 that will go over the top, just like you see there. And then we do have some that are inverted that go underneath to create a really nice silhouette around those engines. And then we have these two over here that will also go underneath here, just like you see there. Then we do have some of these Demos Wing A's, port and port aft, that snap just like there to continue that really nice swooping silhouette along the side. Silhouette of the ship that you see. And they go over here as well. You could take these off and maybe put some windows if you really want and don't care too much about that, but we can't do that because that's going to be too long. And of course we do have this little weird arrangement in the back. To finish out the back, we have a Skeg A aft attached to a Demos Spine E aft, which is attached to a Demos Tail A, and it will attach directly to the back, covering up all the ugly, making it look like we have this really cool tail fin on our ship. But that is pretty much how you build the Shadowrun, guys. The coloring is pretty simple. You just go jet black for everything, and then you trim in some of these nice white or gray colors wherever you want to see them. I think they look really good, especially along the gear that you see here and along the edge of this spine that you see that goes along the ship. And I have a typical dog fighting weapon loadout here. I have 4 of these Vanguard auto projector obliterators that you see here. Auto projector obliterator auto projectors. Probably one of the best weapons in the game, simply because it does a reasonable amount of damage with a low charge rate and has a fantastic range, and they recharge very, very quickly. And I typically always pair them with 3 of the PB50 proton beams. Alternatively, you can go with 2 PB50 proton beams, and you can add 2 additional Vanguard Obliterator auto projectors on top of that, so you can have 6 of these and 2 of these if you have the reactor power that I do. But if you don't, you'll probably just take one of these off. Very good shooting ability. Takes just chews through everything. If you don't like waiting on turrets and you're not really into targeting things, you just want to straight up dogfight, this is probably the best weapons loadout in the game for pure dogfighting purposes. But that is the Shadowrun, guys. It is, of course, one of my favorite ships. I built it very early on as my home ship. It's really the ship that prompted me to even start putting videos on YouTube to begin with for ships. It's what really brought me back to YouTube a few months ago, was the Midnightrun. So I felt it was prudent to do a Midnightrun revamp, and the Shadowrun is what I came up with. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you for coming along with me. I hope you enjoy the Shadowrun as much as I have during my gameplay. So we will see you all the next time on the Gamer's Grim.